Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da.
It's the Moonflower Show.
Welcome to the Moonflower Show.
Welcome back to the Moonflower Show.
Yes, welcome back indeed. It's been a couple weeks. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, and many of you already probably know this, but the reason that we have been on a little hiatus is because Winter and I moved
To Pittsburgh.
to Pittsburgh. And we're
Yeah.
now in Pittsburgh. This is the first Moonflower Show episode that's being recorded in Pittsburgh. Brand new state, brand new city.
Brand new Moonflower Show episode.
Yeah, it's almost perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you all for bearing with us. It's been a heck of a task getting here and just getting settled in.
Yeah.
But I think we've hit our stride now.
Have we?
I mean, for the most part, to the point where we're able to sit down and record the Moonflower Show finally.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we got really ambitious. Well, I don't know. But we knew that we were going to have to take, I think, like, we had to do some rescheduling because we were moving. And we were like, oh, we'll just like push off our planning meeting by like a couple days, because we usually plan every other week and then we record every other week.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, oh, we'll just push off the planning meeting to like the early next week, get that done, and then we can record like a week and a half after we move here. And like, I've moved before, but I've never moved. Actually, that's not true. I've moved before, and I've moved to an unfurnished apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never moved into an unfurnished apartment and had to find all of the furniture myself. Like, I've moved into like an unfurnished place before, but that I just brought like the bare bones of what I needed. And like, I didn't really need much.
Right, and was that a place that was like you were living with other people, or were you like in like a smaller studio?
I was in a smaller studio, so really all I had with me, I had a chair, a kitchen table, which I also used as a desk, and a bed frame.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much it. And I had my keyboard, but like, I didn't have to like get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my first time moving into an unfurnished apartment. There was a lot of moving of boxes, a lot of looking for furniture, a lot of assembling furniture.
Yeah.
For a good week and a half, 2 weeks, that was pretty much our life.
Yeah. You don't think how much time it's going to take to just find a desk,
Yeah.
Like, and we were getting a lot of our stuff off like Facebook Marketplace and stuff. So then, we would figure out what we wanted to get, and then Colin would have to go pick it up, and then I would have to like coordinate because I'm the one talking to the person on Facebook Marketplace, and then Colin has to go pick it up, and I'm like, oh geez.
Yeah, I spent one day in particular, basically, I spent the whole day just driving back and forth between the apartment and like going out into like places that are a half hour away, and like,
because you can only get one thing at a time.
yeah,
really.
I mean, I only have so much space in my Jeep.
Yeah.
For Winter's desk, that they have, it's got like a big old hutch on the back, and I actually had to make two separate trips for one desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we ordered your desk on Amazon.
Yes, because we were like, yeah, let's get something delivered.
Yeah. We got, I think, most of the furniture we ended up getting off Facebook Marketplace, which I was really happy about.
Yeah, because it's cheaper. It's very eco-friendly. It's like,
yeah,
because you reuse stuff, and then, it's better to reuse stuff. But
yeah, but we couldn't find one that you really liked.
Mm-hmm.
And you needed a desk pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the actual process of moving before we even got here, because that was a story in itself.
There was that day that like everything was going wrong.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me preface this by saying my last day in person at my old job, everybody was really nice. They did like a little send off.
Mm-hmm.
And after work, nobody was getting paid during this time because you're not supposed to drink I don't know if it's like a law or a company policy, but you're not supposed to drink like while people are getting paid. But we did like a little like send off after work. Like we had some champagne, and I didn't realize that my coworker wanted to like make a toast. So she was like pouring this champagne and like handing it out, and I took a sip of it, and she was like, "It's such bad juju to take a sip of the champagne before the toast." And I was like, "What sip? Where? What?" And I think that the bad juju came around the day that we were packing everything up.
Yeah, that was the day before we moved, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
First of all, let's back up even before that. I had to move twice because Colin and I did not live together. We live together now, but we were moving from two separate apartments.
Right.
My lease was up on May 25th. Colin's lease was up on June 1st, and which, you know, we had this lease starting on June 1st. So he was able to stay in his place that he had directly before this up until the day of moving, basically.
Right.
I could not do that. So I had to pack all my stuff up a week early, move it into Colin's.
Yep.
And
Thankfully, there was an unoccupied bedroom because one of my roommates had moved out. So we put all winter stuff into an unoccupied bedroom. It was just all across the floor.
Yep.
It took up an entire room. Mm-hmm. And, like, it was... there was no space in that room.
There was no space in that room. Yeah, I had to move twice.
Yeah, so that was fun. Which was also a first for me, I towed a U-Haul trailer on my vehicle. Mm-hmm. And from Binghamton to Pittsburgh was about a 6.5 hour drive, like 7 hours counting our stops. I think we made 7 hours time.
Yeah, we left at I think 6:30 and we got here around 2.
Yeah. So I did that whole drive, never having towed anything before, with a big old U-Haul trailer, and that was super fun, especially because when I went to go pick up the U-Haul trailer, I was picking it up also that day, that day, the day before we moved. And I got there, or actually before, a couple hours before I was supposed to go pick it up, I received a text from U-Haul, like an automated text being like, the location that, the U-Haul location, like, couldn't find an available trailer for me to use, and like the text said that they were working on getting me one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't know how to respond to that, because we made this appointment and paid for it like a month or
more than
a month in
Yeah.
advance. So I just didn't respond, and I assumed that they would have some sort of solution for me when I got there. I get there to pick up the trailer, and the person who I talked to was like, "Oh, did you receive our text this morning?" And I was like, "Yeah." I still need the trailer.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, you're going to have to talk to the manager about that. So I talked to the manager. He was a nice guy. Tried to pawn a 4-bay trailer off on me, and I was like, well, I have 2 full-size mattresses I need to take.
And we had other furniture.
Oh, yeah. So he had to go to like a different U-Haul location, go bring that trailer back to me, and then hook it up for me.
Which, my question to that is,
Why
if
didn't
they
they just
realized that morning that they didn't have it, why not do that before?
You know, like, what's their thought process? Like, oh, you guys don't have the trailer? I guess I just don't need it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But we literally needed that trailer. And it was, you know, we ended up packing everything in there, and it was to the brim.
Oh, yeah. So that was the next part of our journey.
I think we should start with some of the bad juju of that day, though, of packing everything up. Do you remember that? Your key
Oh my
broke
God.
off.
So yeah, that was actually the night before. I was doing some preliminary packing into my car before I went to go get the trailer. Mm-hmm. I packed up my car the night before. And I have a set of skis, and I have ski racks on the top of my car. So and they like lock with a key. So I go to unlock the ski racks, and I hadn't unlocked them in a while, and they were like, the locks were really stiff. I don't know if it was like rust or the ice or whatever. It wouldn't have been ice. It was May. I turn the lock. I like try to force the lock open. The key snaps, and it's still stuck inside the lock on my ski racks.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's really cool. So I ended up putting the skis in my car. They don't take up that much space, thankfully, but like, there was just so many little things going wrong.
Oh yeah, and the toilet flooded.
Oh, the toilet flooded randomly that same day.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and Rose ate the poisonous plant.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
It was honestly, bad things come in threes. Although I think there was one other thing that went wrong. It was the key, the plant, the toilet, and the U-Haul.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it was bad things come in fours, I guess. To explain the toilet thing, basically, Colin lives in a bit of an old house. It's a little untrustworthy. You never, lived. You never knew when something was gonna not work. So I was just there using the toilet like normal, and I like flushed like maybe like a foot of toilet paper down the toilet, but apparently this was too much. This was too much, and it got temperamental, and Colin was like right outside the door, and I just start, it's like flooding, and I'm like, ah. And you're like, what? And I'm like, come in here, your toilet's flooding. And it was so bad because I was like panicking. I was panicking and I couldn't remember how to like stop the water from flowing. So it just kept coming. It was so much water.
Yeah, we like had tried to figure out, we like took the top of the toilet off and we were like, oh, we could try pulling that thing, and that like made it worse. So I'm like, oh, do the opposite of what you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had to spend like 15 minutes mopping up.
I think it was longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
however long it was, we had to mop up the whole bathroom floor.
It was ridiculous.
Um,
And then Rose ate this poisonous plant. Now, you may be wondering, Winter, why do you have poisonous plants that are toxic to cats if you have a cat? Well, in my previous apartment, I had a good amount of spaces that were just completely out of her reach, you know? That barring an earthquake, there was no way that she was going to get to them. Like, unless something was, like, rattling my apartment and, like, knocking things off of, like, high places,
yeah.
there was going to be nothing she could do to get there. And in the event of an earthquake, I would have bigger problems to worry about than her eating one of my poisonous plants.
Yeah, because they're not like, most of them are not like deadly toxic.
No.
They're just like hallucinogenic.
They're like, well, the spider plants are hallucinogenic, and honestly, if she eats the spider plant, it's like not a huge. They're technically non-toxic.
Her and those spider plants.
She goes crazy. I'll tell you about that after I'm done with this story. So I have some plants that are moderately toxic to cats.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have some jade. I have lucky bamboo. I think those are the two big ones that are really toxic to her.
What about the orchid, isn't it?
I actually don't know about the orchid, but I keep it out of her reach anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything that I'm not sure about or like that is moderately toxic, anything worse than a spider plant, like it's not for her. It's somewhere she really, really cannot get it, even if she was being clever. But when I moved into Collins, there was not a lot of space to put these plants that was out of her reach, you know? So we decided to keep them in the bathroom because there was this huge shelf there. So we put all my plants on there and we were like, we just have to make sure to keep the door to the bathroom closed.
Yes.
And as we were packing up, I think one of us had used the bathroom and we left the door open. And keep in mind, we'd been there for like a week and we'd been so good about this.
Yes.
There had been no problems. The door kept closed. Your roommates were good about keeping it closed. I don't think they used the bathroom.
Well, yeah, that was only like one or two other people living in the house at that time.
So we had done so well. We're like, great, Rose did not get the plants. While we were packing everything up, we left the door open for like maybe like a minute or two.
Yep.
And she got in there and ate some of my... What was it that she ate?
I think she ate
You know what it was? It was the devil's tongue.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Which is moderately to severely poisonous to cats.
Yeah.
And so I am not cool with this, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I need to take you to the vet? And the thing is, she's eaten moderately to severely toxic plants before. Side note, there's a dove right outside my window, and it's a beautiful thing. I think he's here to bless us.
On the chimney there?
Yeah.
That's really cute.
It's really pretty. Anyway, back to the story. So, Rose has eaten moderately to severely toxic plants in the past, and I've monitored her, and she's been fine. So I'm like, I like, this is the worst possible day for you to eat this plant. It's Memorial Day. So if I am going to take you to the vet, I have to take you to, like, a pet hospital that's going to be open on a holiday.
Yep.
And, I just don't have the time. So I'm, like, Googling, I'm trying to figure it out. And they're like, okay, it's moderately to severely poisonous, right? If it's moderately poisonous, they don't need to go to the vet. But you should monitor them, because if she started, like, you know, having trouble breathing or becoming, like, unresponsive or other, like, severe warning signs, you know?
Yeah.
Then I would have to take her to the vet right away. So I'm, like, looking at her, and I'm like, Rose, like, why do you do this? I literally was, like, picking her up and, like, trying to listen to her heart.
Yeah.
And just, like, I was so worried about her, but she ended up being fine. Like, she didn't even throw up or anything. She was, I think, a little extra grumpy that day, but she was fine. Yeah. She was literally fine. And, like, we just kept an eye on her. And, you know, I literally set a timer, and I was checking on her every half hour and, like, going over, like, listening to her heart, like, checking to make sure she was, like, responding. And it was like, of all the days for you to do this, why do you eat the plant now?
I don't know. Maybe it's all the spider plants she's eaten beforehand. It's given her a tolerance.
Yeah. She's literally obsessed with my spider plants. Just to clarify from before, spider plants are considered non-toxic to cats, but they are also a mild hallucinogenic. And for cats with sensitive digestive systems, it can make their tummies a little upset.
Right.
But theoretically, it's, like, not a problem for your cat to eat a spider plant.
Yes.
But the problem with Rose is that if there's a spider plant within reach of her, within, like, a 10-mile radius, she knows where it is, and she will go to it with the urgency of, like, a mom whose child is in grave danger.
Like, we don't know if she likes to just trip out or if she likes the taste, but she's really obsessed. And, like, we have in this apartment, we have a lot of these, like, rope plant hangers.
Yeah, we had to get them.
We had to get them because there was not enough spaces to put, like, you've got, like, 15 of them.
Yeah. But I also got those because she was going to eat them if she could get to them.
Yes. And I was going to say that there's not enough spaces to, like, put all of them where she can't reach. But we had to really strategically place them, because if we put one next to, like, a shelf or, like, a counter or, like, a table or, like, a chair or anything, she will go up and she will maneuver herself and, like, put her front paws all the way up on the wall, stretch herself out, and just try her damnedest to eat the spider plants.
Yes, and, like, putting them up too. She's so ridiculous. Like, we had them all on top of the fridge when we first got here, because we're like, okay, safe bet. There's not really a good way for her to get to the top of the fridge in our apartment, so we were like, let's just put all the plants on the top of the fridge for now. But when I was going around the apartment putting all these little plants into these, like, macrame plant hangers, she saw what I was doing. Like, I think I walked into the kitchen. She was like, "Mer?" Like, walked over to me, saw I was getting the spider plants, was like, "Mer," and then, like, followed me around the entire time, trying
like,
to get...
What are you doing with my plants?
And then she's been so sneaky with a couple of them.
Yes.
Like, there was one I put in our bedroom that was not even, like, next to the windowsill. It was, like, a foot out from the windowsill. So there's this big window, and then I'd put the spider plant hanging on the wall, maybe, like, a foot away from the window. And a little bit up, too. This cat gets up on the windowsill and has her tiny little feet, her back feet, like, perched on the very tippity edge of the windowsill and is extending herself diagonally up the wall to eat this spider plant, to eat the, like, tippity tip of this spider plant. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we had to move it. Well, we didn't actually move it, but we swapped it out with a different hanger that was actually out of her reach. She's ridiculous. She's ridiculous, and she's insatiable. And, you know, it, like, doesn't stop. Like, I picked her up the other day, and I was just carrying her around, you know, like you do with your little cat.
Yeah.
Like, it's a baby. And I walked past one of the spider plants, and I felt her body, like, tense up, and she, like, lunged out of my arms a little bit to try to get to the spider plant. And it was honestly pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Winter, a while ago, gave me a little spider plant of my own that had, like, grown from one of yours.
Yes.
And that I could keep at my place. And since I've had it, I think because Rose has come over, had come over to my place in Binghamton a couple times. Pretty much every time she came over, she would find a way to eat my plant, and it like every time I would be like so proud of it for like growing, and then she would like almost completely destroy it.
The first time that she ate it, it was actually, if you know anything about like spider plants, they make offshoots, they're little babies. And this plant was really young and it was already making a little baby and you were so happy.
Yes.
And then she ate the baby.
She ate the baby. I was like, why have you wronged me like this?
Yeah. I don't know if that plant is going to produce other babies again.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, the spider plants are pretty hardy. Like
they are hard to kill. I've never killed a spider plant. Then again, I have a little bit of a green thumb, but I've never killed a spider plant. They also all survived the move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the move, I think the next thing we wanted to talk about is the process of getting everything into our vehicles and the U-Haul trailer.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of our friends in Binghamton, our great friends. We like really couldn't have done this without them. But they all came over the day before we moved to pack everything into our vehicles and our trailer, and it took a couple hours, just because we had so much stuff. We had like the big stuff. We had 2 full-size mattresses. We have like 3 TVs.
Yeah, we do have 3 TVs.
2 bicycles. Thankfully, I have like a 2 bike rack
Yeah.
that we were able to put onto Winter's car.
We had these nightstands, like very nice like nightstands that my parents gave us.
Nightstands, table.
We had this like cube media
like shelving
shelf
unit.
thing. Yeah. We had my bed frame.
Bed frame.
And we had all of our stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if this is like different from people my age. I think maybe more so when I was a couple years younger. I do not own anything other than what I have with me here. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything that's like at my parents' house. I don't have anything elsewhere.
And storage.
All my stuff is with me.
Yeah.
I think that some people our age aren't in that position.
Yeah, I that's the case for me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like literally all my stuff. You know, and I lived alone, so I have, like, one of everything, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't have as much stuff, partially because you had roommates, so, like, you didn't all need to have a can opener, you know?
I didn't have as much, like, kitchenware or, like, appliances or, like, stuff like that. We had all winter stuff.
Yeah, I by far have more stuff.
Yeah. So we had a crap ton of stuff.
It was a lot. And we were looking at it, and, like, looking at our cars, and, like, looking at this trailer, and we're like, we don't know if we can do this.
Yeah. And the further that we got into this process of packing everything into the vehicles, we were kind of bummed because we were like, I might have to come back and, like, make a second trip to grab the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. And it was going to be for, like, a couple boxes.
Yes.
You know? It wasn't even going to be like, oh, we have to come back and make another trip and your car is going to be, like, full. It was going to be something stupid, like, you have to come back for, like, a couple things,
like,
you know?
3 bags of clothes, and that was it. So, yeah, I had resigned myself to the fact that I was going to have to do this drive to Pittsburgh, then come back to Binghamton, and then go back to Pittsburgh, which would have been a total of, like, 18 to 20 hours of driving in, like, the span of a couple days.
Yeah.
Which
would have been a lot.
Really sucked.
Yeah.
But then, like, we got closer and closer, and, like, bless our friends that we had helping us that day, because they were determined to make everything fit for us and, like, make it so that I wasn't gonna have to make another trip.
Yeah, like, we got to a point, and it was, like, Eye of the Tiger music.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, our good friend Jacob.
Oh my
like,
God,
shout out to Jacob.
And Abby doing the Tetris in the back.
Yeah, and Wendy and
trailer.
Terrell. Like, everybody was just so
Terrell helped us out with
helpful.
we ended up having to ratchet strap some furniture to the roofs of our cars
Yeah.
to fit everything.
Honestly, your ski rack came in handy for that.
Yes.
Maybe it was a blessing in disguise that
my skis weren't on
that
there.
your skis went on there, because I think we were able to fit more stuff
Yeah.
on top of our cars. I remember we ended up getting everything into the cars with a couple modifications. I actually gave one of our friends some of our stuff, because I was like, if this like piece of stuff is like the difference between us having to come back for this one thing versus us like being done, you can have this.
Yeah.
So we made a couple sacrifices, but we got everything into the cars, and then we were trying to fart around strapping this furniture to the roof of our car. And you were just looking at me in your sunglasses, and you were like, I'm not comfortable with putting that chair on top of my car unless it is secure from all angles. And I
Okay.
was like working on it for like an hour.
Well, yes, because I'm not gonna be that guy that has a chair flying off the roof of his car.
Yeah.
When I'm going down the highway.
I know. And we got it secure. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a disaster.
It would.
But yeah, I had a nightstand and a chair on the roof of my car.
Okay.
A U-Haul trailer that was, like, you could not fit another, like, thing in there.
Yeah. When we got here and opened it, like, stuff was falling out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you opened any of our doors or the U-Haul trailer, like, stuff was automatically falling out.
In the passenger seat of my car during this drive, I had, actually not even on the passenger seat, like on the armrest next to my driver's seat, there was like 2 plants just like taking up the armrest, and next to me in the passenger seat was like Rose's big old litter box, like a planter thing that like
filled with plants.
had other plants in it. It was like a greenhouse in there. I mean...
It really was. You had, like, once you got all set up in there, we had walkie-talkies, too.
Yes.
You had, like, your whole setup with, like, your little walkie-talkie, and then, like, all this foliage just right next to you.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, check out my cockpit. It's like a jungle.
Yeah. So
Yeah, also, by the way, Mom, if you're listening to this, I know you told me to take good care of the nightstands. We did put them on the roof of the car, but they were...
cat's out of the bag.
The cat's out of the bag, if Beverly ever listens to this. But, yeah, they were very secure. There was a 0% chance of rain. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
I love you.
Uh-huh. And the chairs and the table were in the U-Haul trailer, but there was no way we were fitting that nightstand
If she
anywhere
listens
else.
to this, pray for me.
Yeah, no problem. So by some blessing, some miracle, we were able to fit everything in our vehicles. And then the drive itself went pretty smoothly, I'd say. Like, we only had to stop a couple times for, like,
Yeah.
gas and bathroom.
The drive itself was pretty smooth, but it was also just so long and, like, boring.
It was long, it was boring. I mean, whenever I have long drives like that, I love to listen to podcasts. So, I mean, I had been saving up episodes, like weekly episodes of my favorite podcast to make it so that I could listen to it the whole time. So it wasn't too bad for me. I was like on high alert the whole time because I had to make sure my trailer wasn't swinging its ass out.
Yes, and the thing is, I was driving behind you,
Mm-hmm.
and so the amount of stuff we had in that trailer, it was inevitably gonna, like, not fishtail, but, like, wiggle a little bit.
Yes.
But that wiggling is what turns into the fishtail when
Yes.
things go wrong. So, like, every time it wiggled, which was every 5 seconds, I was like, he's gonna fishtail. And then it was fine for, like, 10 seconds, and then it was like, he's gonna fishtail.
Yeah.
So that was my emotional state watching you drive.
Oh well, thank you for being my guardian.
Well, I mean, you couldn't see behind you either.
Yeah.
Another thing, I don't know what it was, but I was following you at a reasonable distance, right?
Yeah.
Like we were going like almost exactly the same speed, pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, we
And
had to go.
I
We
had
had to go like the speed limit because that's kind of what you have to do when you have a trailer.
And I was giving you plenty of space, right? You know, I wasn't too far behind you, but I was giving you space, you know, just in case, like you should always do when you're driving. But for some reason, when people would go to pass me, they would pass me, cut me off, and then tailgate you.
Yes.
And then after like a minute of that, they would pass you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, love that.
you have 2 out-of-state plates. One of us has a U-Haul. I'm driving the speed limit. The person in front of me is driving the speed limit. Do you think that passing me and cutting me off and then going to tailgate the guy towing a U-Haul in front of me is going to work out for you in terms of you getting where you need to go? It was just weird, and I've never seen that before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen that where, like, people will cut one person off. Like when there's multiple cars going slow, usually people will go around all of the slow cars, you know? Mm-hmm. It was really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, but other than that, pretty smooth drive overall.
Yeah, it was. We had our little walkie-talkies.
The walkie-talkies were a good idea.
Yes.
Made communicating a lot easier if we needed to pull over. Like, that word of advice, if you ever need to do like a long drive with somebody else, get yourself some walkie-talkies, because I mean, I use my phone as my GPS. I have like a little holder thingy, and so does Winter. Mm-hmm. Going to your phone, closing the map, going to your phone, that's like time consuming, very dangerous. Yeah, walkie-talkies, much better solution for that.
Yeah, for sure. We got good walkie-talkies too.
Yes, and I mean, they'll be useful for other things than driving. And then we got here to Pittsburgh.
We did.
Unload. Thankfully, we had the help of some hands for hire.
Yes.
To unload all our stuff into the apartment.
Yeah, we were able to unload everything. We got everything in here in about an hour and a half.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we were living in a land of
chaos,
boxes and bags and
yes.
Just disarray.
Yeah, we didn't have a shower curtain for like a couple of days. Yeah, I remember on like day 3.
Well, we had one. We just didn't know where it was.
And you were like, "We need to find the shower curtain today." I'm like, "Okay."
Because the bathroom floor would become flooded every time we took a shower.
Yeah, keeping in mind, as we're unpacking, I've started grad school.
Yes.
I'm still working. I had a meeting at 9 a.m. the day after we got here. Mm-hmm. So I'm like on Zoom. I'm doing my homework. I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
And I tried to like power through as much as possible. But I'm still not done. I'm still not done getting everything like the way that I want it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still not 100% like secure in my environment here.
Yeah.
And in ways more than, you know, just being in a new city, etc. You know? I'm a very structured person, and I don't feel 100% secure in my like home structure here.
Yeah, well, you've been very busy.
I have been very busy. Yeah. Honestly, I probably should have taken more time off from work for the move. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about your school at all?
Well, I started grad school. You can probably guess what school out of like the 2 of them that are here that I'm going to, based on the fact that we moved to Pittsburgh at the same time that I'm starting grad school. Please don't dox me, thank you. Yeah, all the 3 people that are listening, please don't dox me. Thanks.
Oh, speaking of people who are listening, we gotta give
a shout out to James.
James, who was a guest on one of our previous episodes. You all know him. You all love him. He has become a patron of ours. Thank you so much, James. You're the best. You rock.
Yeah,
sure. Thank you for supporting the Moonflower Show in a big way. And look forward to your exclusive Moonflower friendship bracelet when we have
when there was a
when we
get that.
we
When we have 20 patrons on Patreon,
don't forget
we are making everybody a special custom Moonflower bracelet. So if you are looking for a good excuse to get me to procrastinate on my schoolwork,
if you would
become a
like to
patron.
sabotage Winter's academia,
yeah, subscribe to the Moonflower Show on Patreon.
yeah. What were we talking about? We were talking about we talked about your school.
We were talking about school.
You've been having a lot of it.
I have been having a lot of that, yes. A large presence of school in my life right now.
So Winter's been doing that. I've been primarily for the first week or so. I was primarily going around and getting furniture and assembling it.
Yeah, he was my manual labor man.
Yeah.
Dare I say my manual labor?
I was also your Starbucks retriever.
Yes, pretty much. I would say 30% of the days that we've been here. I mean, okay, keeping in mind, I'm just so busy. I'm so busy. I'm working full time, and I'm basically taking the equivalent of 30 hours of credits for school. Mm-hmm. So it's been challenging. A third of the days that we've been here, I would say I have gone up to Colin and said something to the equivalent of, "What's it gonna take for you to go get me Starbucks right now?
I mean, usually
name your price."
Usually, if you get me Starbucks, if you pay for it, I will go get it. That's a done deal for me.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with food.
Yeah. The thing about Pittsburgh, at least the area that we live, is it's kind of tricky to drive places. Not because it's hard to navigate or anything, but because there's not a lot of parking. So if some place is within a 30 to, I would say even 30 to 40 minute walk, mm-hmm. it's pretty much always worth it to just walk there rather than park, depending on the weather and stuff too. We went to a movie recently and it was raining and we drove, even though it was relatively close. But yeah. And then not everywhere delivers. You can't really get Starbucks delivered, I don't think.
Yeah.
At least if you can, I don't know.
It's probably very expensive.
Yeah, it's probably pretty expensive. So it's just better to walk to places. But I don't have an hour to go and walk and get Starbucks and then come back just to have a nicer coffee.
Yeah. But I've been taking some nice, lovely morning walks sometimes.
Oh yeah?
Well, when I was going to get you Starbucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've been just checking out the city, and the city itself. I am loving Pittsburgh so far.
I love
personally.
Pittsburgh too, yeah.
Our first impressions. Let's talk about our first impressions of Pittsburgh.
The first day that we were here, we went on a walk. I think we got here, we got all our stuff in, we showered, we put on the first clothing items that we could find, so we looked a little ridiculous. And we went out to eat at this place that we had really been eyeing for a while.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of... We live in a really cool neighborhood where it's there's nice apartment buildings, but there's a lot of natural greenery, a lot of big old trees, and then there's sidewalks, and within walking distance there's this little area with shops and restaurants and stuff. Mm-hmm. Very very cozy and very it's urban, but it's not overwhelmingly urban, Yeah. There's still a lot of a lot of coziness,
Yes. Sorry for the interruption.
Winter's computer has told us that it's time to record the Moonflower Show.
I'm not editing that out. Oh, man.
Yeah, got it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. Snooze until today night.
Today night.
Anyway, yeah, we live in this really cool area where there's a lot within walking distance. Mm-hmm. So we went to this restaurant that we had been eyeing for a while on Google Maps. Because when we signed this lease, we looked at the area, on Google Maps, and we're like, well, okay, what's around there? What might we like to do? Mm-hmm. And there was this one restaurant that we were like, we have to go there. So we went out to eat, and then we were like, hey, let's just walk around a little bit.
Yes.
So we did, and the first thing that really struck me was people look you in the eye as you're passing, and they at least smile at you.
Yeah.
And that is so not what happens in Binghamton. Oh my God. like to think that I'm a pretty friendly person. I'm a little reserved, but I'm friendly. You know, I think that there is actually like a lot of understated value in like social niceties, like looking at people and acknowledging them when you pass them on the street. You know, or like holding the door for people. Like I know there's more to like being kind and being good than that, but I think that stuff is like a really important piece of the fabric of society. And in Binghamton, if you looked at somebody and like smiled at them and said hello to them on the street, they would look at you like you had 7 different types of eyeballs.
Yeah.
And like it was so distressing.
Yeah, it was just a very like unfriendly atmosphere.
Yeah.
Here, I don't know. There's such good vibes here. Like we walked through a park that day.
Yes, and we saw all this little wildlife.
Yeah, we saw this like wildlife that was
Yeah.
like good and healthy.
We saw rabbits.
Yeah,
There's so many bunnies
bunch
here.
of rabbits here.
Yeah.
Just like this playground, like full of families, like all these different families and children, just like having a good time.
Yeah.
Like public art. There's public art everywhere.
And yeah, and we went to this park. There were like trees that had like labels on them, and they were like, "This is what this tree has done for the environment."
Yeah, like it's produced so much. Like what is it? What it like?
It's like carbon, like offset,
Something like that.
and
Yeah.
and what it the amount of money it saved in terms of like runoff, like water runoff. Trees are great.
Yeah.
Trees are great.
So there's a lot of, like, I don't know, ecological awareness here, and you can really see it.
Yeah, there's trees everywhere. There's a lot of greenery.
Yeah, what's really cool about the I don't know, the structure of this city is super cool. There's a lot of like verticality in the architecture. It just like uses space super smart. Like
Yeah.
like people will have like an apartment building, and then there would be like a driveway that goes like down into a garage like below the level of the street.
Yeah. And then there was this one person we saw who had like a little parking space for their car, and then they built a porch like over where they parked their car.
Yeah.
So that they could have like more space.
And then like the you can tell that the city is built like around the greenery and around the plant life.
Yes.
And so as not to disturb it. Like there's a lot of trees here that like someone probably could have gotten rid of to make space for more buildings, but they haven't, and they've been built around the trees.
Yes, and one example of that too, we went to get ice cream the other day, and there was this little like fence, like kind of surrounding the building, and the fence went da 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 da, and then it stopped when it got to this huge tree that provided shade for the seating area.
Right.
Stopped, and then the fence started again after the tree, and it's like nice.
Yep. Yeah, and even like in the little shopping districts, like there's a lot of like diverse, happy looking people, and it's just comforting.
Yes.
There's a very comforting vibe here.
Yeah, like people, the way that I kind of was describing it to Colin was that like people look well.
Yes.
Like they look well, you know? Like I think I'll have more thoughts on this at a later date, but like seeing people like out running, or seeing people like just like working outside, like, or like focusing, or like doing their garden, or like smiling at you on the street and like being friendly and like social, you know? There's like a word for that, being like pro-social, you know?
Yes.
That is an indicator that you have found yourself in a mentally and physically healthy community.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is actually like super powerful. And I think it does a lot in terms of like just like regulating your nervous system and like regulating your stress response to things. Like when people smile at me on the street and like wave, it like literally relieves stress. Like I can
feel the same
feel
way.
it like getting extracted out of my spine.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it's like, oh, that person is like, you know, for what little chance there was of that person being a threat, it's that small chance is always naturally at the forefront of your of your thought, because it's like, that's instinct.
Yeah.
But someone just being friendly, taking the initiative to say hello to you, it's like, okay, this is a person that is just gonna be nice.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Everybody, well, most of the people we've met in Pittsburgh so far,
was
the
gonna-
vast majority.
I was gonna say, it took me a good couple weeks to meet a single person in Pittsburgh that wasn't super duper nice when I
Yeah.
spoke to them.
Yeah.
And like since then, I've met like a handful, very small handful of people who have been like, you could have handled that situation better, but so many people are so nice, especially like the people that I went to go get the furniture from Facebook Marketplace. They were all just a joy to just be around.
Yeah, well, to be fair, those were also the people who, like, responded to me quickly and were like, yeah, hi, come
Right,
pick
yeah.
up my desk, So there might have been a little bit of a...
Yeah, but like someone could respond quickly because they want to get rid of something.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
They were all just so polite. Like the guy that I got your desk from, he was just super cool. He was like very outdoorsy. He like had 2 dogs. He was like getting rid of his stuff because he was on his way to New Mexico, and he was just a great conversationalist. The people that I got the couch from, it was like a couple that was moving back to Philadelphia. They were here for like a little while, and they were just super polite. They like disassembled the whole couch right in front of me to get it into my car.
Wow.
And like basically carried it down. They're like big old. They lived in this place that like you had to go up some steps to get to their front door, and they were like, "Oh, we got it. Like, just get the little stuff." Just a lot of people taking the initiative to like make this a very nice and friendly place, and like even this dude at Starbucks, like, I don't know, he was being super polite, like asked me how to spell my name, complimented on me on my outfit.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that makes you feel very at home in a new place.
Yes. Yeah. I do. I feel very welcomed here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should we talk about our fun adventure?
Yes, I think we should. So, first of all, actually, Wendy's probably never going to listen to this, but...
Come on, Wendy.
Come on, Wendy.
I know you're a moonflower at heart.
I don't think I've actually even really talked to her about the podcast. But Wendy, if you're listening to this, thank you for that lovely gift card to that restaurant that we went to.
Mm-hmm.
Colin and I went to this really nice restaurant that normally I don't think we would really go out to eat at because it was one of those fancier places. But my friend Wendy, who I'd known from Binghamton, was like, I really want you guys to like have a nice place that you can go to like after you've moved and like just enjoy yourself while you're there. Mm-hmm. And so she got us this gift certificate to this really nice restaurant. And so we went out there, I think it was the Friday after we got here, and we were like, let's go date night, like we'll get really dressed up and just like go and like have a good time and like enjoy ourselves. Mm-hmm. So we get to this place, we're all like spruced up, we're both wearing heels.
We're looking fly.
We are looking fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh. In like the way that like fruit is fresh. Not like fresh baked cookies, but like fruit. Mm-hmm. Like a watermelon.
So
crisp.
A couple of fruity fruits walking down the street.
Yeah. Wearing our sunglasses.
Both of us in high heels.
Yes.
And we get to this place. We're like, oh, fancy place.
Yeah.
And we decide to sit outside.
Yeah.
In like the little outside sidewalk seating area. Mm-hmm. We have like a little legs crossed with our shades on, and like we were looking very posh.
Yes. I think we were feeling very posh too.
We were feeling very posh because we were like this fancy restaurant, and like the restaurant was like and it was more of like there was a lot of little dishes that you could order. Like the point was to like get like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There was like cheese boards and stuff.
We got a
delicious like board of different cheeses.
Yeah, and we got this like, what else did we get? We got these delicious cocktails too.
Well, you got.
Okay, yeah, I got a delicious cocktail.
Yeah.
And there was just like, it was all these like little small dishes that were just so interesting and like good.
Yeah, I had like
You had this like
eggplant caprese.
Yeah, and I got like a vegan shawarma.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It was really good.
And then we had that like mushroom thing with that.
Oh, yeah.
With the poached eggs.
well, they're gonna know where we went if we say what that was.
Well, yeah.
It was drunken mushrooms.
Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to take the effort to find this place, whatever.
I think if you search drunken mushrooms Pittsburgh, you'll know where we were.
Yeah. Well.
I recommend it. They have a really cute waiter.
Oh my god, that waiter was so cute.
Yeah, if you're out there, if you're listening to
Fashionable.
this, oh my goodness, your outfit. We said it then and we'll say it now. But cute goth waiter BB.
Yes. And so at some point in the evening, I had to step inside to use the bathroom, and we were sitting, our table was like right next to one of the windows of the place. I walk by this table of these ladies who were like sitting against the same window on the inside, and they stop me. They're like, "We just have to say, you two are just so good looking, so just like interesting. We're watching you like laugh and have a good time. We're just like so interested and inspired by you." And this was the most beautiful compliment I've received in a while, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, thank you!" And I had to introduce myself and be like, "We're new in town." Hey, shut up. I'm Colin. This is Winter. We just moved here, and we're like looking for friends, looking for people to hang out with. And these ladies were like, this is the first time that we've actually met in person outside of work. They all worked for Amazon, so they had only interacted through their work. But one of them, I don't know if we should say names, but one of them was celebrating their 30th birthday.
Yes.
And she was like, you guys should totally come out and party with us tonight.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yes. Yeah. I love being invited to party with strangers.
Well, you went in there, had this interaction with them, and then you came back out, told me about it.
Yeah,
and
well, because I had originally been like, we're looking to hang out with people, and then they were like, well, we wish we could, but like we're not actually from here.
Yeah.
Only one of them was actually living in Pittsburgh. One of them was from Ohio, and then the other one was like somewhere else in Pennsylvania. But then like towards the time we were starting to get ready to leave, one of them was like, "It's my 30th birthday tonight. We're going out. Like, please join us."
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely.
Yes.
Just give me the time and place.
Yeah, so she did, and we went bar hopping with these people that we had just met.
Totally unexpected.
Yeah.
Turn of events, but we were, I don't know, we were just so eager to explore the city, make some new friends. We were looking cute as hell.
Yes.
And
they were buying us drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, bet you didn't think that you were going to run into a couple of sugar mamas who were going to buy you drinks all night."
They were so cool, so funny.
Yes.
The one that lived in Pittsburgh, she was like taking us to all her favorite spots, like showing us around. She was like, "That place is great. This place is great." Like one of them was a chess fanatic. We traded chess.com accounts.
Have you been playing with her?
I have not been playing with her, but I've been meaning to. I don't know. They were just so cool, so fun to be around, and we eventually ended up in like this club, did some dancing with them.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah, it really was, and it was so nice to just be friendly, you know?
Yeah. Like one of them was having her like gay awakening that night.
Yeah. It was a lot, and I think it was like good. We like talked about it.
Oh yeah, we had some really good conversations.
Yeah, just with these like complete strangers, and I think that experience was, you know, it was with these like ladies who were in their 30s, right?
Yes.
But it reminded me of going out with people in undergrad, you know?
Yeah. And the spontaneity of it.
The spontaneity and the willingness to like connect with people that you don't know, you know? And I had so much fun. I'm really, really glad that that happened.
It was just so exciting, and it would have happened if they like just hadn't come up and like complimented me and like
Yeah.
opened up the door for me to introduce myself. And I don't know, that's just it's indicative of what kind of place this is. I think
Yes.
it's a nice, friendly place
Yeah.
to be.
It really is.
I think that's pretty much all I had to say
Yeah.
on this episode of the Moonflower
That's
Show.
pretty much all I had to say on this episode of the Moonflower Show.
Once again, thank you for bearing with us while we figure out our new schedule. I don't know if this is uploaded, when this is going to be uploaded. Tonight? Tomorrow?
Well, it'll be, if you are on Patreon, you'll have access to it today, like tonight, which is... Actually, no, it'll be tomorrow, Friday, for you. But then if you are a regular Moonflower, then you'll have it on Tuesday at 6 p.m., just like normal.
Cool.
So, yeah, we're going to stick to that schedule. Even though our schedule is different, we're going to keep the content schedule the same for you.
Cool.
But bonus, if you are a supporter of the Moonflower Show on Patreon, then you're going to be getting episodes a little sooner.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us. We're very excited to be in a new place, finally settled down, and probably going to have lots of more fun stories for you in this new place
Yeah.
to tell you about on the Moonflower Show.
Yeah.
All right, we have a trip coming up.
Oh,
that
yeah.
We're probably going to end up talking about at some point.
Yeah, we should just talk about our adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people like hearing us talk about
Yeah.
just stuff we've been doing.
Yeah. I also just, at some point, I really want to talk about how I want to delete all my social media.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Let's
like,
have an episode about that.
Go under a rock and, like, have my only social media be, like, subscribed to, like, my personal newsletter, where once a month I send you an email about what I've been doing.
Look forward to that and more.
Yeah. All this and more coming up.
Okay. That's all then. Have a lovely night, Moonflowers.
Yes, please enjoy the rest of your day or your evening or whatever is in front of you. We will talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.